In today's video, worlds collide as we have every Star Wars army in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 fighting against every Warhammer 40k army in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. For the Star Wars units, we have Jedi, we have clone troopers, we have B1 and B2 battle droids, we've also got ourselves Death Troopers, Stormtroopers, Rebel Fleet Troopers, baby. Now, I am not nearly as well rehearsed with Warhammer, but I do know that these are Imperial Guardsmen. We've also got like Chaos Marines. We've of course got Space Marines. These are like dudes with hacksaws, I guess. Let me know in the comments what they're called, because I don't know. We've also got some of the Warhammer Total War characters, like Imperial Spearmen, as well as Imperial Crossbowmen. We've got some dwarves on the battlefield. We've got more of these spooky ghoul chaos dudes. We've got dragons on the field. It is a whole smorgasbord of Warhammer 40k units. Again, I'm not super well versed in them, but I'm sure there's some awesome ones in here. Either way, may the best army win. What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Now, let's go ahead and press start right here. There are 2 million Star Wars units and 2.5 million Warhammer units. And the reason the Star Wars units have more than the Warhammer units are because the Warhammer units, while they might have higher highs, as in, you know, they've got like Space Marines, which are better than any of the Star Wars units currently on the battlefield, they do have lower lows as well. Like the Spearmen and the Crossbowmen are some of the worst units that you could have going up against basically all units with laser fire slash lightsabers. So that's the reason why the Warhammer units have a little bit of a discrepancy. You know, they've got some really powerful units out there like Chaos Marines, Space Marines. Even those dwarves are pretty powerful, man. But then they've got some really cruddy units as well. So it's a little bit of give and take right there. As you can see, most of the arrows are just bouncing off of these 212 clone troopers as they push forward. It's doing absolute butt kiss to them. Doing nothing. Well, a couple of them are dying, but for the most part, nothing. So that is why the Warhammer units have 500,000 more troopers. But I have run this a few times, and I have had different winners each time. It depends on how well they perform, what flanking routes each armies take, and all sorts of other things. So this is a fairly even battle with 2.5 million Star Wars units and 2.5 million Warhammer units and 2 million Star Wars units. We've got Jedi coming through here and just slashing it up against a lot of these crossbowmen, killing them early on. We've also got dragons over here going up against some of these Jedi Knights. I don't really know where the Warhammer dragons come into play. Maybe they're from like Total War Warhammer. I don't know. Are they in Warhammer 40k? Because I know those are like different eras or even different universes of Warhammer. I'm not entirely sure, to be completely honest with you. I did play Total War Warhammer 1 a lot. I played a little bit of Total War Warhammer 2 with Forensic Steel, and then I've played like maybe 2 hours of Warhammer 3, and that's it. Oh, these explosive rounds right here, by the way, those are the Space Marines, or the Ultra Marines, I think they're called, right? There's only 500 of them on the battlefield, but first of all, they've got really good health, 8,000 health, and then they have explosive rounds that you can see are landing back here and killing a lot of these Death Troopers. Death Troopers are probably one of the best units that we've got for the Star Wars boys. They're basically elite commando units, of course. So it's cool that they're going up against the Space Marines, who are also elite, and they're also cutting down dwarves left and right. The last time we had dwarves on the battlefield, they were actually pretty good, but maybe these are the weaker of the dwarf units. How much health do they have? 1,500. That's actually pretty strong, but right now, they don't seem to be really doing anything against the Death Troopers. The Death Troopers are just slicing and dicing them down. Really, really brutal over here, and the dwarf hordes just keep coming forward, though. The dwarves don't care. They're gonna get in there, baby. Yeah, love it. I always think to myself that, like, at the very least with the Total War Warhammer universe, I don't know if there's like a name for it or whatever, it always feels like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings world, Middle Earth, on steroids, you know? It's like they took Middle Earth and then they were like, let's also add vampires, werewolves, rat kings, like the whole thing. That's just what it feels like to me. Now, an interesting thing that is going to be happening with this battle. So we do have the front lines here, of course, which is just a hodgepodge of death all over the place and destruction. And look at all this laser fire from both sides. Absolutely insane. But then we've also got the backup lines who are going to be trickling in as reinforcements coming over these trenches here and resupplying the front lines. And that is going to be happening for both sides here, which is very interesting. So yeah, there will be constant reinforcements coming onto the battlefield for both sides, and I think that does make it very, very interesting. Now, we've already got 1 million dead Warhammer units. That's rip potato chip to those boys. Poor lads. And 250,000 dead Star Wars units. So it seems like right now, the Warhammer units are certainly in a bad place. Look at these dudes running on in here. I can't tell the names just by clicking on them, but they've got a lot of health. But they're a melee unit, so they don't do super duper well. We've also got ourselves more of them over here. What's over this way? Oh, here's some of these. These are Chaos Marines, right? I could be totally wrong. Could be totally wrong, but these guys have 8,000 health. They're pretty decent units. I think there's like 200,000 of them on the battlefield, so they might be able to get some serious kills against it. Looks like some Sand Troopers over here for the Star Wars units. So yeah, we're really hoping for the Warhammer units that the cannon fodder units, like the Spearmen and stuff like that, die, you know, and protect by being body bags for the more elite units like the Space Marines and stuff like that. Oh, and here's some of those. These are like Cadian Guardsmen, I think the mod calls them, but I thought they were Imperial Guardsmen. I don't know what a Cadian is in Warhammer, but those guys are coming in a little bit too. Look at all these guys out here. Look at all these dudes moving about. I think they're taking random shots from way off in the distance. I think what I would like to do after this initial battle is go back and have the Jedi Knights fighting against some of those Chaos Hacksaw Chainsaw Marines, or whatever the heck they're called. I think that would be pretty cool, honestly. Either way, right now it does seem like the Star Wars units are dominating the battlefield, but things will always change in Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2, especially with these elite units. I want to go check in on the Space Marines over here, because these guys are mean. They do some deadly damage. Oh, look over here, all these Jedi fighting back against dwarves and dragons and stuff. Oh, and here's those Space Marines providing cover fire. It looks like the Space Marines killed a lot of the Death Troopers, but they're fighting something back here. What are they fighting? Oh, here, there's a random squad of Death Troopers made it through here and are now getting the snot beaten out of them by dwarves. What do you know? The Dwarven armies. So it seems like the Death Troopers are taking some heavy losses. Here are the Space Marines over this way, firing into them as well over here, and just getting plethora of kills. Wow, it's laggy over here. Ooh, look at all the dead bodies over here. Those Space Marines, they might clutch this up for the Warhammer units. Either way, why don't we go ahead and do a little time lapse? I'm thinking we got to go into the fray over here, the laser fire fray, and do a little time lapse over this way and see how this goes. Alright guys, it's been about 10 minutes here, and we've only got 800,000 Warhammer units left. That's a big difference from 80,000. Still a lot of these crossbowmen up and kicking, which is pretty cool. They might be weakening these guys a little bit, and then we've got these Chaos boys fighting against some of these Jedi boys. The Jedi have 2,000 health, the Chaos boys have 8,000 health, so a little bit better from the Warhammer units over there. And I think I've had a lot of people comment in my comment section when I do Warhammer versus Star Wars videos that, like, Warhammer is basically the most overpowered, like, universe of all time. So more than likely, they would win against pretty much any Star Wars army. Let me know if that's true. I don't know. But either way, we still have 1.2 million Star Wars units left alive, 750,000 Warhammer units still alive, and the secondary reinforcements seem to be coming in pretty hot. What happened to all the Imperial Guardsmen? We only saw a few of them throughout this battle, and there was a million of them to start, so maybe they all just got targeted heavily. There's so many crossbowmen still alive, though. And they are getting devoured by Jedi Knights right now over here, because the Jedi killed all the dragons that were protecting the Guardsmen over there. That's kind of crazy. And it looks like, yeah, there are still a few Death Troopers over here, too. What happened to our Space Marines? Did the Space Marines go down? I don't see any explosive fire, really. Oh, nope, there's still a few Space Marines over this way. Alright, they're still kicking it, but they seem pretty bloodied, pretty damaged. Maybe they're a little bit low on Space Marines currently. Whoa, that's not good. The Space Marines are definitely one of those units that's, like, protecting pretty heavily against everything. Why don't we go ahead and get the time-lapse of the Jedi just mowing through these crossbowmen, and then there are some of these chainsaw boys back here that could help stem the tide of Jedi. Let's see if that works. Alright, so that, yeah, that didn't go super well for the Warhammer units. The Jedi went through them like butter. I just kept having to follow the action with the camera over and over again because it kept moving, which was kind of insane. So yeah, the Warhammer units seem to be on the defense right now, which is not great. No, I cannot say this is looking too hot. Yeah, they're struggling for sure. Probably a bit of that is just that they have so many melee units, and a lot of their range units died really early on. Like the Imperial Guardsman died right off the rip. Like, I don't see any of those dudes left alive. Maybe they're just like really, really weak. Oh, there's a few in here. How much health do you have? Oh, that's the wrong person. You. No, that's the wrong person too. Here, I'll clear one out. Here, seclude one. Here. Alright, they've only got 400 health. That seems like decent, though. I feel like these guys should have been more present on the battlefield overall, but they just weren't. So, I think that... there were a million of them. I spawned a million of them. So, what's their excuse? I don't know. Doing a little bit of damage from afar here. They do 30 damage a shot. That's not too bad. And that'll whittle down the enemy. I don't know where they went, though. They just, like, evaporated. Poof. So that's a bummer for the Warhammer units for sure. What is this over here? Oh, God. Oh, the Jedi are getting into the back lines now. It's not good. And the crossbowmen just suck. These guys just suck, man. They're absolute garbage. Yeah, I think this is going to be a big old Star Wars W. Big old Star Wars W. So the times that I noticed when the Warhammer units won was when the Space Marines were basically allowed to do whatever the heck they wanted. I mean, I don't really see any left alive. I think they all died. But there was a couple rounds where basically the Space Marines went on this big flank in the back here and just tore through the back lines, all 500 of them, barely contested, and they managed to help out the melee units enough that the melee units could get close enough to kill all of the enemy ranged units and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool, but that did not happen this time around. No, sir. This is actually pretty cool action here, though. Look at these guys go on in, fighting some Jedi. They are more powerful than the Jedi, so they should get more kills than them, but it seems like there's a lot more Jedi than there are of them currently. But they're slowing down the Jedi advance at the very least. That's good. That's nice. Alright, why don't we go ahead and time-lapse till the end here, and then we can go have some shenanigans with melee Star Wars units versus melee Warhammer units. Alright guys, big W for the Star Wars units today. Oh, massive, ginormous W. W. Let's, yeah, let's do some melee stuff. Well, nah. First, we're gonna run it back. We're gonna give the Warhammer units more range. Alright guys, basically just increased the number of Cadian Guardsmen by, oh, no one's moving. Oh, we've had this glitch before. Okay, that's a problem. Alright guys, let's see if this works. I basically just increased the number of Imperial Guardsmen by about 400,000. So, we'll see if that ends up making a major difference here. I don't know. It seemed like last time they got washed, but maybe just a little boost would help. Let's actually watch the Guardsmen start this thing off, because last time around they did terrible. Here they come. Again, there's so many of them. There was a lot of them last time too. A few are starting to fire, but it seems like they have to be a lot closer than the Star Wars units to fire. That might be another problem, is that these guys have way worse range than the Star Wars units. Okay, here we go. There's some firing over this way now, which is good. Means that they'll actually fight a little bit, hopefully, and they're going up against sand troopers over this way, which we did not see a lot of in the last battle. They were pretty absent. Where are the supers too? There's a lot of Star Wars units I feel like we didn't really see. These are all still sand troopers. Bro. Well, here's the Rebel Fleet troopers and the droids going in, firing very far. For some reason, the droids have crazy range in this game. Here's some of the super battle droids. Beautiful. They're firing away. Everyone's firing away. And over here, we've got the Space Marines firing into the Death Troopers yet again. And they seem to be amassing quite a number of kills yet again as well, which is good. Very nice. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait and see how this goes. Second time, round 2. Let's just go ahead and leave it for a while. Yeah, no, we'll do a time lapse. We'll do a time lapse of the overhead over here. Alright guys, this time we had a complete 180. The Star Wars units got absolutely smacked this time around, and there's one remaining, and there's still 1 million Warhammer units left. Bruh. Okay. Alright, dude. Well, hopefully that time-lapse was cool, because it took very little time for them to all die, actually, which is crazy. I basically just walked away for a millisecond, and everyone was dead. Yeah. Either way, let's do melee units versus Jedi, because I think that would be really fun. Okay, guys, so we have about 1 million Warhammer units versus 500,000 Jedi Knights here. Now, the Warhammer units, we've got these Chaos Sorcerers, we've got the Imperial Spearmen, we've got some dragons, of course, we've got the Dwarves, and then we've also got ourselves those Chaos Marines with chainsaw guys. These dudes. So quite a variety here in this little melee bash that we're going to be having. I think that the Warhammer units range again pretty widely. Like the Spearmen I think are very weak, whereas like the Dragons are very strong, and the Jedi are just like a solid middle ground unit. They've got 2,000 health, they do decent damage. Yeah, I think this will end up being a fairly fair fight, just given the fact that the Jedi, you know, are pretty even, and then all of the Warhammer units vary so much from either being better than the Jedi to being significantly worse than the Jedi. And already we're seeing the Jedi chop these Imperial Guardsmen to bits. Wait, what the heck? Oh, these guys have laser fire? These guys were in the last battle, by the way. Did we even see them in the last battle? I don't know. Okay, well, a slight unfair advantage. But it doesn't seem to matter because the Jedi just go up to them and clobber them anyway, so their ranged little Tesla coils aren't going to do that much. Oh, the Dragons are tossing a lot of these Jedi around. Jedi have gotten a couple of dragon kills already, but it's pretty cool to see the Dragon's explosive power throwing Jedi left and right. And how are the Dwarves doing? The Dwarves seem to be holding their own against the Jedi fairly decently, not terrible. The Jedi already have 118,000 kills, and 5,000 Jedi are dead on the battlefield. Now let's check out the Chainsaw Boys over this way. Is this them? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And they seem to be doing fine. I think these guys are a little bit better than the Jedi overall, so they could potentially do some serious damage. And look, we've got like the zipper effect going here, where the lines are zipping up as both sides try and get on that flanking route. Whew! Very exciting things happening on the battlefield currently. Why don't we go ahead and do a time lapse of the Chainsaw Boys versus the Jedi here, and we'll move it around and see who wins. Alright, boys. Things are going absolutely nuts here. It seems like the Jedi are getting really good kills, man. Really good kills. They have 322,000 remaining, and they've killed 700,000 Warhammer units. Warhammer units are still killing Jedi, though, and it's mainly the strong ones left alive. The dwarves, who are probably the mid-tier, are still doing well. The dragons are doing great. I don't think any of those sorcerers are still alive. But then the Marines over here are doing exceptionally well, and they're protecting some of the spearmen over here, too. So I feel like there's still potential for the Warhammer boys to win, especially if they like get their stuff together and end up doing pretty well here in the end. But overall, it's looking a lot more like a Jedi victory. Yeah, the Jedi are winning this one, but the Warhammer units put up a very good fight here. There's very few of them left, and they're kind of scattered, but it's mainly these chainsaw-wielding boys getting the last of the kills here. Actually, there's quite a number of them over here. They seem to be doing work, but there's 178,000 Jedi left alive over this way, so it'll be interesting. Why don't I just let this ride? Alright, Jedi end up winning this thing. However, there's only 150,000 of them left alive, so it did end up being at least somewhat close. Either way, guys, that's going to be the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.